All right, we're back with more Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth. Continuing on, I think this will be the final part of this second episode. So let's continue on. March 12th, 3:35 p.m. Flight G390, lower deck cargo hold. Miss Meal. Miss Meal! Huh? Do you recall what you said earlier about when you answered some of service calls as we were departing from Xingfei? Huh? You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible. Because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Xingfei. Oh? Miss Cammy Meal. Huh? Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did. No one could make a mistake so large, Miss Meal. But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. Yeah. This is getting us nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well. Miss Mill, if you please, tell me about your alibi during the time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Everybody's a suspect until they're not. Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Miss Mill, wake up! She fell asleep again. Looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Hold it! I'm awake. Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you do something about this flight attendant this instant. Why ask me to wake her when you can finally put that whip to an appropriate use? Hold it! If I remember correctly, food was being served at first class and the lounge between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. Yeah, but that kind of stuff run by Miss Rhoda. And what were you doing in the attendance room at that time? Eating and then having a most delicious dream. You mean you were neglecting your duties? No way. Sleeping is part of our job too, you know. Hold it! You were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say, hey, say hi. Oh, well, I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise rejection? Yeah. Miss Mill, there's a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. Huh? What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in an attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 a.m. Take that! I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Mill. Huh? A receipt? For what? It's for the suitcase Miss Tenryu bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp, as you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m., Miss Tenryu. Yes? Huh? Why is the killer here? I thought you have her locked up by now. I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Tenryu, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to first floor in flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to shop to buy a suitcase. After which I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Meal there at that time? No. So, Miss Meal, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Meal. The bathroom? I bet the one to ask the question. I'll be the one to I'll be the one to ask the questions here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know. Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew, but do you think that maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda too? She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know. If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Tenryu out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you got your eye on Miss Rhoda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kinda... I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk.
Hold it!
No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statements regarding Miss Hicks also turned out to be a bunch of lies. But say I wasn't an attendant, you wouldn't suspect me then, would you? Yes, I suppose that's true enough.
Hold it!
She is already being detained for further questioning. Or have you already forgotten? Oh yeah, guess I just forgot. Canby, don't tell me you suspect me too. Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it. I can't believe you would think that. I mean, me, a killer? Miss Mia, what did you mean just now by no one else who could have done it?
Hold it!
And what are you in charge of, Miss Meal? I take care of the attendance room. That doesn't count. Aw, but I spend so much time in there. It might as well be my responsibility. Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages. So she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borgian. She is the only one on this flight who is fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of what I'm in charge of? Oh, you mean that kind of what I'm in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yeah, so I'm really good at Borgian. He's fluent in Borgian? Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borgian. Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borgian. Very interesting.
Hold it!
Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super suspicious in my eyes. Huh? But why? While Miss Tenryu is busy with the passengers and all her other duties, you have a lot of free time on your hands. thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime.
Objection!
Miles Edgeworth, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural questioning. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer. Nah, but I do not honestly believe Miss Meal does any actual work aboard this flight. Oh, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth. Although, well...
Hold it!
So what exactly do you do as the one in charge of some Borgian stuff? I do stuff like translate things from and into Borgian. Cammy is the only member of the crew who understands Borgian, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Meal, I take it then that it is your job to process all of the Borgian paperwork. Yeah, see, I totally pulled my weight around here. So it would appear. Perhaps I should ask her for a few more details about her work and... Miss Meal, it's very unladylike to push suspicions onto someone else. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that Miss Rhoda is very sus... There you go, pushing everything onto her again. I don't get what you're saying. It must be a really abstract concept, huh? The only thing abstract... I can't say the word. The only thing abstract here is the landscape inside your head. Here.
Objection!
So you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borgian. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borgia for a while. If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borgian is you, Miss Meal. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Aleph Red could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you. Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. It is exactly as you say. Are you confessing to have participated in the smuggling? No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There is no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really, all you did was sign it. I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough fight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition. Even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
Objection!
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring. And just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First, it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenryu who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. We have no proof of that Rhoda is being set up or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all the blame for the crime onto her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions.
Take that!
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way all these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Tenryu for the murder. Miss Tenryu buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Tenryu or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Tenryu or myself, but you, Miss Camille. Only you and you alone could be the killer. And? Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into that big picture.
that!
I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on, and that is the victim's cell phone. Francisca? You were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks' cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks' cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We won't know until we try every little experiment, will we? Francisca, I'd like to ask you for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. Agent Hicks' phone! It's ringing from somewhere, sir! I hear it, detective. Now, where is it coming from? The ring is coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. What? No, it can't be. This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Tenryu's. What? So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone? I found it in the flight attendant's room, in Miss Tenryu's locker. What? But... Rhoda Tenryu! I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenryu right away.
Objection!
Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the key card. When the killer went to steal the key card, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Tenryu's locker at the same time.
Objection!
This is related to the key card, alright? In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francesca's right. Can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on it or in it.
Hold it!
What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. Ah, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of a smuggling? Francesca, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own, and mine can take photos just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in there for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. Oh, may I go back to sleep now?
Objection!
The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Francesca? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francesca, your phone if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for his smuggling case. Hey, the leaf red's nowhere in this pic, sir. But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? Oh, she right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use? What's all this? Oh, they are cargo shipped from Borgia to Zhengfei. So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zhengfei. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there's no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of boxes is written in Borgian. It says it is cloth in English. Cloth. Could it be? Is this where the killer... What? What's for this scary face? Miss Meal. Yes? It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who the killer is. Ha! Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture for Mr. Edgeworth.
Take that!
The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe out the blood they had spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zhengfei had cloth written on it. In Borgian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from the cleanup to clean up the blood with. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Borgian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Chamomile. That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Borgian.
Objection!
Sorry, but I cannot agree with you. Your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Borgian, well then, logically the killer could have opened this box first.
Take that!
Hey, it says bed sheets in English right on the box, sir. Precisely. And bed sheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? So what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bed sheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer who chose to use some Borgian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold, so they were afraid to leave signs that the box for the sheets had been opened. However, the Borgian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color, because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zinfei. That's right. That is why the Borgian cloth was used. And the only Borgian reader on board who could make such a calculated decision is you, Camille. You and you alone. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zinfei authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So what do you say, Ms. Mio? Why not confess to your crime here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zinfei? He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. I... You finished making all the arrangements to take the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we even approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. It probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. Looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Mr. Edgeworth? I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. Hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. If you don't want it. No, I mean, I will never turn down a lady's generous offer. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. Remember, we here at GoU Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Now I must bid you farewell. May all your skies be blue no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir. But boy, it was fun. Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Francesca? Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. Francesca. I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time. However, it has been a while since we last met. I have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Thus, who do you think I am? You are Franziska von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. These two should definitely bang. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing parrot living her life on the name and fame her invincible father built. True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there's another agent on this case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows? You may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose. But I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back in full. And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness. I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her whoop. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. It's nothing. It was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. I think I'm gonna celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. Just how much did you cut his salary by, Franziska? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus, I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play. And the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Ezra speaking. Finally. I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through. And you are? Have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy? Mr. Amano? Ernest Amano, correct? So you do remember me. I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped. All right. All right. That ends the Turnabout Airlines. So next time will be like the kidnap turnabout. But I'll end it here. I got a couple of reviews to do for tomorrow, and maybe a discussion video about a certain game that was announced recently, then some stuff about it behind the scenes that's troublesome to hear, to say the least. But I'll say that for tomorrow. But anyway, have a good night. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.